Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And as you can see, a new project. I'm by no means finished with my previous project. If you're following my build series on my FMS FJ40, stay tuned. I'm going to have more on that. But for now, I'm going to get started on a new project here. You can see it's a big one. So I've had my eye on the Traxxas hauler for a while. I thought it would be a cool rig to take into the woods as a transport vehicle for a comp crawler, right? So typically with a comp crawler, I will strap it to a backpack or just carry it and hike my way up to a really good crawling spot and pop the battery in, do my crawling, maybe make a video or something, load everything up, walk back down, right? So a lot of the experience is really just kind of hiking through the woods carrying an RC car, which is fine. I don't mind that. It's still a good time. But when I take a trail truck out, as soon as I get there, I can put that truck on the ground and start having fun with it. The entire trail up to the good crawling spot is a lot of fun, then same thing back down. So I thought it would be really cool to have a rig that I can use to transport my comp crawler. And as soon as I get out of my car, throw the hauler on the ground, throw whatever rig I'm taking with me on the back, strap it down, and just drive it through the trails and have a good time. And it's going to be a really fun challenge because getting this thing through the woods, not going to take it on any super rugged, crazy terrain, but just, any of the typical hiking trails I use to get up to my crawling spots, I think this truck is going to be capable of. Of course, it is based on the TRX6, which is an extremely capable crawler, but it just has this huge, it has an extended wheelbase and this huge platform bed on the back. So to keep this video simple, I'm going to do this in a slightly different way. I'm realizing that now by doing my other build series, I realized a lot of my videos are so damn long, I don't think anyone's watching the whole thing start to finish. So what I'm going to do is just do a brief overview of a couple little mods that I'm going to be doing. And then I will do individual shorter videos on each of those mods. So you guys can pick and choose. If you're interested in one and not the other, you can just watch maybe an 8 or 10 minute video on that particular mod. Or if you want to follow the whole build series, I think it's going to be a little bit easier if I do it in like little segments. So you can just watch a little 8-minute video while you're doing that mod, then move on to the next one. I think it's going to be a little bit more simple. So let's get right to it. My first order of business with this truck is to make it more stable. So Traxxas initially developed this in mind with a Fortec, which is just a little road car, 10 scale road car, which is even, smaller. They're more like 12th scale compared to what a 10 scale crawler is. So it's small, it's lightweight, it sits low. It doesn't really affect the stability of the truck all that much. Nowhere near as much as having a big, heavier crawler on like this that sits up higher. So most of the videos I've seen, you see guys take these out in the woods with a truck on the back, and these things are just swaying around. I've seen some guys do some pretty impressive stuff, so I know it is capable. I think it just needs a little bit of tuning. So my first step here is going to be to try to add some stability to this. So I have 3 things I'm going to do to this truck to try to gain some stability, and I think they're going to work out great. And the best part is they're all about 30 bucks total. So let me just go through them real quick. And then, like I said, I'm going to have some individual videos on each one. So check out my playlist. I'm going to make a playlist for this truck, just like all my other videos. So if you want to follow along and see what other things I do with this long term, go to my channel, check out my playlist for the Traxxas hauler, and you will see all those videos listed there. So let's get right to it. First step, and this is probably the first step with a lot of RTR crawlers, is going to be tire foams. These are the foams that come in this. These are 2.2 low profile tires. And this is just a standard, what I would say is maybe a medium foam, open cell. They're not going to hold up very long. And if you get these wet at all, forget it. They're just going to disintegrate. And especially with all this weight on the back, they're not going to last very long. They're super soft, pretty much right out of, well, hold on. Let's see. That's the foam, and this is what I changed it to. So what I'm changing it to, silicone inserts. These are, I'll link these up down below, but also if you want to see a more detailed video, like I mentioned, I'm going to have a separate video on this with all the links and everything. These require a little bit of trimming. These are not the Enduras. The Enduras are a little bit too tall for these tires, I haven't tried them, but they're definitely taller. Maybe they'd work. I don't know. But these are the ones I had lying around, so I tried these. They're a little bit shorter, and these are a 1.9, but believe it or not, they fit on these rims really nice because these plastic rims, the tires are glued on. You don't need a bead lock. It doesn't use a clamping ring like a bead lock would. So this fits, it's made to fit a 1.9 clamping ring, but this 2.2 wheel without the clamp ring is the same exact diameter. So they fit in there really nice. You do have to shave down. I noticed you started seeing little ripples on the tires. You have to shave them down a little bit. So all that's going to be covered in the video. That's going to be step one. We're going to get some good stability in the tires. We're going to make them waterproof essentially. If you run your tires vented and you run through water a lot like I do, these are going to hold up great. So no issues there. And these are, you get a 4-pack for about $7-8, right? Next thing, next order of business, and I think it's going to be the most important one and probably the biggest improvement is, I mean, I took it out of the package here, but sway bar. And this is just loosey-goosey here. I didn't tighten anything up, but we're going to be adding this sway bar. This is the sway bar you see all over Amazon. It's listed as Axial Bomber or a Wraith sway bar. I think $9 you can get these for. And then these are simply going to go down with the links to your rear axle. I'm going to run it just on the rearmost axle alone. And I think this thing's going to be great. I've run this exact sway bar on multiple rigs and it really works well. They're really heavy duty. I think it's going to add a ton of stability to the back of this truck, which is exactly what it needs. Next up, helper springs. These teeny tiny little stiff springs. Where do I have one here? Hold on. So this tiny little spring here, let me see what size they actually are. Can I make sense of this? 0.8 by 7, 15 to 50 millimeter. These are 15 millimeter. Okay, so these are 15 millimeters tall and 0.8, I think, is the wire diameter, and they're 7 millimeters in kind of circumference. Diameter, I don't know, whatever they're measuring. But anyway, what I did was, and again, more info in the detailed video, but I'm running this between the rod end on the bottom of the shock, just right on the shock shaft in between. So you have the larger outer spring. And let me see if I could show you on a different shock. Actually, let me just get you in here and show you on this actual shock. So if I can lift this spring up, can I do it? So you see that other little helper spring is sitting inside of there. And for the first bit of travel, it's fine. So if you're running your hauler with nothing on the back, you're going to get kind of the same spring rate as you would initially without these helper springs. But then once this compresses to about, I'd say 50% of the shock travel, that helper spring starts to engage and it really adds. To me, I don't have any other way to measure this aside from just the feel by hand, but it starts to ramp up. It feels at least twice as stiff when it hits that helper spring. So it's really going to add a lot of stability. I have to decide. I don't know if I'm going to do both rear axles, but I'm definitely going to do the rearmost axle, the front axle as well, because of course, when the truck kind of unloads to one side, it's transferring. If you make this stiffer back here, it's going to transfer all that weight to the opposite corner. So you want to have kind of a balanced spring setup. So I think that's going to be huge. So that's basically it for the beginning of this build series, are those three things. We have tire foams here, and this is the stock foam. And then this is you can see they still have a good initial kind of squish here, but then they really ramp up and they're definitely going to hold up way better. And another trick I'll show you in the video, you can add a little bit of like foam rods to the outside here if you want them even stiffer. So a lot of tuning options here. And how I installed these is I just debonded the glue on the back side of the tire, pulled the foam out from the back, and I trimmed up that silicone insert, slid it in, and then once I get everything tuned the way I want it, I'll just re-glue just the back side of the rim. So no issues with the front. They look factory fresh. All the glue looks nice and tidy. and I'm really happy with how that turned out. Saved me a lot of money from buying 6 beadlock rims and new tires and foams and everything. So it's a big added cost. I really like the way these wheels look. It's hard to find, especially if you're looking for a 2.2 without spending like $300-400. It's hard to find wheels that look this good and this well suited for this vehicle. So I'm going to run the stock ones for now. That's going to do it for this video. I have a bunch of stuff on order for this. I have, if you're familiar with the RC4 wheel drive, the CChand makes some really cool scale accessories. I have a nice headache rack coming. I have a roof rack. I have different mirrors. I have a different grill. I have like a hood vent, side vents here, grab bars, all kinds of stuff. I'm going to make a custom bed for this thing because I want to make it a little bit wider and also a tiny bit shorter. And yeah, it's going to be a whole project. I want to turn this into a really cool like off-road hauler. So stay tuned, guys, and yeah, check back and check out the playlist on this, and you'll see all the stuff coming up. It might take a little while for me to add stuff, but yeah, keep checking back. And like I said, I'll do like a little brief overview, and then I'll start doing like more like shorter detailed videos. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video. Later.